Welcome, friends, to a journey through time, to the ancient city of Babylon, a place of great wealth, towering walls, and wisdom passed down through generations. This is not just a book about money. It is a book about the timeless principles of financial success, revealed through the stories of those who mastered the art of wealth. The Richest Man in Babylon is more than a collection of tales. It is a guide that teaches how to accumulate riches, manage finances wisely, and create lasting prosperity. Written by George S. Clason, this book unveils financial secrets through parables set in ancient Babylon, the richest city of its time. Why Babylon? Because Babylon was the wealthiest city in the ancient world, and its people understood the laws of money. Through simple yet powerful lessons, Clason takes us into the lives of merchants, traders, and kings who learned to master their wealth. The wisdom shared here is timeless, and just as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. In these pages, you will meet Arkad, the richest man in Babylon, and listen to his teachings on how he became wealthy. You will learn the 7 cures for a lean purse, discover the 5 laws of gold, and hear inspiring stories of people who transformed their financial lives. These lessons are taught through vivid storytelling, making them easy to understand and apply to your own life. So let us step into the ancient city of Babylon, where the streets are filled with traders, where wise men share their knowledge, and where fortunes are built. Prepare to learn the secrets of wealth, just as the Babylonians did, and take the first step toward financial freedom. Chapter 1. The Man Who Desired Gold. Our story begins in ancient Babylon, a city of great wealth and opportunity. The golden sun beats down upon its towering walls and bustling markets, where merchants trade spices, fine fabrics, and precious metals. Among the people of Babylon, 2 men sit together, lost in thought. Their names are Bansur and Kabi, childhood friends who have worked hard all their lives but remain trapped in the chains of poverty. Bansur, a skilled chariot builder, looks at the half-finished chariot in front of him. It is a fine piece of craftsmanship, built with precision and care. And yet, despite years of dedication to his trade, he finds himself unable to afford even the simplest pleasures of life. He sighs heavily and turns to his friend Kabi, a talented musician who plays his lyre for nobles and common folk alike. "Kabi, my friend," Bansur says, "have you ever wondered why we toil day after day, yet our purses remain empty? Look at the fine houses of the rich men in Babylon. Look at their overflowing treasure chests. What do they know that we do not?" Kabi nods thoughtfully. "We work as hard as they do, perhaps even harder, yet we struggle to make ends meet. Is it fate that some men are destined for riches while others are doomed to poverty? Or is there a secret that we have not yet learned?" A silence falls between them. Then a thought sparks in their minds. If there is anyone in Babylon who knows the secret to wealth, it must be Arkad, the richest man in the city. He was once a poor scribe like them, yet he discovered a way to build great riches. Determined to uncover his wisdom, they decide to seek him out. As they walk through the grand streets of Babylon, they see Arkad's vast estate, a home fit for a king, with lush gardens and towering columns. The servants at the gate allow them to enter, and soon, they find themselves before the great man himself. Arkad, though immensely wealthy, greets them with warmth and kindness. He listens to their plight and smiles knowingly. "My friends," he begins, "you ask why some men grow rich while others remain poor. It is not the gods who decide wealth, nor is it a matter of luck. The truth is simple. Wealth grows for those who understand and follow its laws. When I was a young man, I too desired gold, but I did not know how to acquire it. I worked hard as a scribe, yet my earnings vanished as quickly as they came. Then one day, I sought the advice of Algamish, a wise money lender. What he taught me changed my life forever." Bansur and Kabi lean in, eager to hear more. Arkad continues, "Algamish told me, a part of all you earn is yours to keep. At first, I did not understand. I thought that everything I earned was mine. But he explained that if I spent all that I earned, I would remain poor. If I saved at least 10% of my income and never touched it, my wealth would grow." Arkad follows with his own experience. "I followed his advice. For a full year, I saved a portion of my earnings. When Algamish returned, I proudly showed him my small but growing savings. He was pleased but asked what I had done with it. I told him I had given it to a brickmaker who promised to buy rare jewels for me. Algamish laughed. Would you trust a brickmaker to buy jewels? Stick to wise investments, my boy. Let your money work for you, but only in ways you understand. Bansir and Kabi listen intently. They realize that they, too, have been careless with their earnings, spending everything and saving nothing. Arkad continues. After my mistake, I did not lose heart. I saved again, and this time, I sought the guidance of wise men before investing. My gold began to work for me, earning more gold, and that gold earned even more. This is the secret. Money, like a faithful servant, will work for you if you let it, but you must first command it wisely. Kabi, astonished, asks, so all we must do is save a part of our earnings, invest it wisely, and let it grow? Is it truly that simple? Arkad nods. Yes, it is that simple. Yet few men do it. They spend all they earn and wonder why they remain poor. If you wish to be rich, start today. Save a portion of your income and watch it grow. Bansir and Kabi leave Arkad's home filled with newfound hope. For the first time, they understand that wealth is not a matter of luck. It is a matter of discipline and knowledge. They vow to follow Arkad's teachings and begin their journey toward riches. And so, dear listener, the first lesson of wealth has been revealed. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. This simple truth, if followed, will lead to great prosperity. As we continue, we will uncover even more of Arkad's wisdom in the next chapter. Chapter 2. The 7 Cures for a Lean Purse. Arkad, the richest man in Babylon, stands before an eager crowd in the grand courtyard of the temple. Merchants, artisans, and laborers have gathered, all yearning to learn the secrets of his wealth. Arkad, with a knowing smile, begins to share his wisdom. I was once poor like many of you, he says. But through discipline and understanding, I uncovered the 7 cures that transformed my lean purse into a fat one. Listen well, for these cures can do the same for you. First cure, start thy purse to fattening. The first cure is simple, Arkad begins. Save at least 1/10 of all you earn. Let it remain untouched, and your purse will grow. Too many men spend all they earn and wonder why they remain poor. But when you keep a portion for yourself, your wealth begins to accumulate. The crowd murmurs in agreement, some nodding as they realize how often they have squandered their earnings. Second cure, control thy expenditures. Many believe they cannot save because their expenses are too great. But I tell you, expenses will always rise to meet income. You must control your spending. Do not confuse desires with necessities. Live within your means, and you will find that saving becomes easier. A merchant in the crowd shouts, But Arkad, how can we cut costs when life is so expensive? Arkad smiles. Examine your spending carefully. You will find that many things you buy are not essential. Learn to distinguish needs from wants, and you will free up wealth. Third cure, make thy gold multiply. Once you have saved, do not let your gold sit idle. Put it to work. Invest wisely, and it will multiply. Wealth grows when it is wisely handled. Arkad shares his own experience of lending money to a shield maker who returned it with interest. Gold, like a fruitful tree, will bear more gold when properly nurtured. Fourth cure, guard thy treasures from loss. Be cautious where you invest. Many men, eager for quick wealth, place their money in ventures they do not understand, only to lose everything. Seek advice from those wise in handling money. Protect your gold from unnecessary risk. The crowd murmurs, remembering tales of those who lost fortunes to reckless investments. Fifth cure, make of thy dwelling a profitable investment. Own your home rather than paying rent forever. A man who owns his house secures his future. Seek a comfortable home that you can afford, and let it be a place of security for your family. Sixth cure, ensure a future income. As a man grows older, he must think of his future. Save and invest so that even when your hands can no longer work, your wealth will continue to provide for you. Seventh cure, increase thy ability to earn. The more wisdom you gain, the more you can earn. Learn new skills, work diligently, and seek greater opportunities. A man who betters himself will always find new ways to increase his wealth. The crowd erupts in applause. Arkad's wisdom has planted the seeds of prosperity in their hearts. Chapter 3. Meet the Goddess of Good Luck. As the golden sun sets over Babylon, a group of men gathers in the courtyard of a wealthy merchant's home. The air is filled with the scent of spices and the distant hum of traders completing their business for the day. The men, successful yet still yearning for greater riches, engage in a spirited discussion about fortune. What is the secret to wealth? One man asks. Is it skill, wisdom, or merely the favor of luck? A well-respected merchant, Sharanada, rises to speak. He is a man of great wisdom, known for his shrewd business acumen and vast wealth. He listens to the debate, his eyes twinkling with experience, before finally addressing the group. My friends, he begins, the goddess of good luck smiles upon those who take action. She does not bestow her gifts upon those who merely wish for wealth, nor does she favor those who gamble and hope for fortune. Instead, she rewards the diligent, the bold, and the wise. The men lean in, eager to hear his words. Sharanada continues, I once knew a young man who was offered an opportunity to invest in a new caravan route. It was a wise investment, supported by experienced traders. Yet, he hesitated, fearing the risk. He chose to wait, hoping for a better opportunity. But in waiting, he lost the chance. The caravan prospered, and those who had invested became wealthier. Had he seized the moment, he too would have been among them. The men murmur in agreement, each recalling moments in their own lives when they hesitated and lost out on potential fortune. Luck favors those who grasp opportunities when they arise, Sharanada explains. She rewards those who act swiftly and wisely. When a sound opportunity presents itself, do not delay. Fortune does not wait for the hesitant. One of the younger men, inspired by the story, asks, So great Sharanada, how can we invite luck into our lives? The wise merchant smiles. By preparing yourself. Educate yourself in your trade, build strong relationships, and always be ready to act when the right opportunity appears. If you make wise and bold decisions, luck will favor you. The men leave that evening with a new understanding. Luck, they now realize, is not an elusive force granted to the chosen few. It is a reward for those who are prepared and willing to take decisive action. Chapter 4. The 5 Laws of Gold. The grand hall of Arkad's home is filled with eager listeners. Among them sits his son, Nomaser, who has returned after many years of learning and toil. Arkad had once sent him away with a small bag of gold and wise advice. Now the young man is back to share what he has learned. My father, Nomaser begins, when you sent me forth, I thought that gold alone would make me wealthy. But I was wrong. It was not the gold, but the wisdom that proved to be my greatest asset. Allow me to share with you the 5 laws of gold, laws that have guided me to prosperity. The crowd listens intently as Nomaser reveals these laws, speaking with the wisdom of experience. First law. Gold comes willingly and in increasing quantity to any man who will put aside not less than 1/10 of his earnings to create an estate for his future and that of his family. Nomaser smiles, recalling his early days. At first, it seemed difficult to save a portion of what I earned. But as I did, I found that I never truly missed it. Instead, my wealth grew, and I gained confidence. Second law. Gold labors diligently and multiplies when invested wisely. He continues, I lent my saved gold to a merchant who needed capital for his business. In return, he repaid me with interest. My gold had worked for me and brought back more than I had given. Third law. Gold clings to the wise owner who seeks the counsel of men experienced in handling it. At first, Nomaser admits, I was tempted by foolish schemes, but I learned to seek the advice of those who truly understood wealth. By following their guidance, I ensured my gold was put to proper use. Fourth law. Gold slips away from the man who invests it in businesses or purposes with which he is not familiar or which are not approved by those skilled in its keep. Nomaser sighs, remembering his mistake. I once gave gold to a man who promised great profits from a foreign trade. He knew little of the trade, and soon all was lost. This law taught me to invest only in what I understood. Fifth law. Gold flees from the man who forces it to impossible earnings or who follows the alluring advice of tricksters and schemers. With a firm voice, Nomaser warns, I saw many men lose their gold by chasing illusions, promises of quick riches and effortless gains. Greed blinds men to reason. Gold is not won through trickery, but through patience and wisdom. As he finishes, the room erupts in applause. Arkad nods approvingly, proud of his son's wisdom. The 5 laws of gold, simple yet powerful, are now ingrained in the hearts of all who listen. Wealth is not about luck or mere possession of gold. It is about understanding the laws that govern its growth and security. Chapter 5: The Gold Lender of Babylon. The bustling marketplace of Babylon is alive with voices bargaining over fine silks, fragrant spices, and glistening jewels. Among the traders stands Rodden, a young spear maker, who has recently earned a generous sum for his craftsmanship. His pouch is heavy with gold, yet his heart is burdened with uncertainty. Rodden seeks the wisdom of Mathan, the gold lender of Babylon, a man well known for his keen judgment and understanding of wealth. As they sit within Mathan's chamber, surrounded by shelves of clay tablets and stacks of scrolls, Rodden unburdens his dilemma. "My sister's husband comes to me, asking for a loan," Rodden explains. "He speaks of a great venture, yet I fear losing my gold if his plan fails." Mathan nods knowingly and reaches for a small chest. He opens it and reveals a collection of tokens, each representing a different borrower. He picks one up and holds it between his fingers. "This, my young friend, is a lesson in lending," Mathan says. "Gold, like a faithful dog, will remain with its wise master. But if given without wisdom, it flees like a deer into the wilderness." Mathan then shares his wisdom on lending money, explaining that wealth should only be lent to those who have a strong plan to return it. A fool's venture is a risk too great, while a wise investment grows wealth for both the lender and the borrower. As Rodden listens, he realizes that generosity must be balanced with prudence. Lending money to a friend or relative is not kindness if it leads to mutual loss. True wisdom lies in ensuring that gold is lent with care, protected by security, and given only to those who have the means and ability to repay it. Rodden leaves Mathan's chamber, understanding that gold is best preserved when it is lent with wisdom and returned with interest. Through this lesson, he learns that wealth is not just about acquiring gold, but about safeguarding it through wise decisions. Chapter 6: The Walls of Babylon. The mighty walls of Babylon stand tall and unyielding, a fortress of security against invaders and calamities. They are the guardians of wealth, the protectors of life, and the embodiment of preparedness. The citizens of Babylon, though prosperous, understand that without protection, their riches and lives would be at the mercy of misfortune. One fateful night, an alarm rings through the city. An enemy approaches. The people of Babylon rush to the gates, fear gripping their hearts. But the city's commander, a seasoned warrior, stands resolute upon the towering walls. He turns to the gathered citizens and reassures them. "Do not fear, for these walls are strong. They were built by our forefathers not just with stone and mortar, but with wisdom and foresight. No force can breach them if we stand united and prepared." The people, encouraged by his words, take their positions. They trust in the defenses they have built, knowing that their preparation in times of peace ensures their survival in times of peril. Just as Babylon's walls safeguard its citizens, so too must individuals build their own walls of protection in life. The story teaches that wealth, once gained, must be defended. This defense comes in many forms: savings for unforeseen hardships, wise investments that withstand economic storms, and knowledge that shields one from financial ruin. As the enemy retreats, unable to penetrate the walls, the people of Babylon cheer. They realize the truth. Their security was never in the strength of their warriors alone, but in the wisdom that built their walls. This lesson is clear. Just as a city must fortify its walls to protect itself, so too must individuals fortify their finances. Through careful planning, savings, and strategic investments, one can ensure that prosperity is not easily lost, even in the face of adversity. Chapter 7: The Walls of Babylon. In the golden city of Babylon, the great walls stood tall and mighty, a testament to the wisdom and foresight of its people. They stretched high into the heavens, an impenetrable fortress against any enemy who dared approach. Many who lived within their safety never pondered their strength, yet those who had seen battle understood their value. The tale of Babylon's walls begins on a day when danger loomed beyond the horizon. A vast horde of invaders had gathered, their weapons gleaming beneath the scorching sun. They were fierce warriors, seasoned in battle, and driven by the promise of riches. Yet, within Babylon, the people did not tremble, nor did they flee. They trusted in their walls, built not in haste but with careful planning and unyielding labor. A soldier named Assur, a seasoned warrior who had defended Babylon for many years, stood upon the ramparts, gazing at the approaching army. Beside him stood young Cuter, a fresh recruit who had never seen war before. His hands trembled upon his spear, his heart pounded in his chest. "Will the walls hold, Assur?" Cuter asked, his voice betraying his fear. Assur, his face calm as the still waters of the Euphrates, turned to him and smiled. "These walls are stronger than any sword, young one. They have stood against many enemies, and today will be no different." "Do you know why?" Cuter shook his head. "Because they were built not in times of peace, but in times of wisdom. Our kings, knowing that danger might come one day, ensured that Babylon would be ready. Brick by brick, stone by stone, the walls were raised, not in panic but with patience. Just as a wise man prepares for hardship before it arrives, so did our forefathers prepare for this day. The enemy roared in challenge, and the ground trembled beneath their charge. Yet Babylon's gates remained closed, its walls unshaken. Arrows flew from the battlements, striking down those who dared approach too close. The invaders battered at the walls with great force, but their blows were no match for the strength of Babylon's defenses. Days passed, and the enemy, unable to breach the city, began to falter. Their supplies dwindled, their spirits waned. The people of Babylon, safe behind their mighty walls, continued their lives as they had before, unafraid, secure in their city's wisdom. At last the enemy turned away, defeated not by swords or spears, but by the sheer resilience of Babylon's walls. As the enemy retreated, Cuter stood beside Assur, his fear replaced with awe. "Truly our walls are our greatest wealth," he said. "They have protected not only our gold, but our very lives." Assur nodded. "A man without defenses is like a city without walls. Just as Babylon built its fortifications long before they were needed, so must a wise man fortify his life. He must save in times of plenty, so that he may withstand times of need. He must build his knowledge and skills, for they will shield him against misfortune. And he must guard his wealth, ensuring that it is not squandered but protected for the future. And thus, as Babylon stood strong behind its walls, so too must every man build his own defenses, safeguarding his prosperity, ensuring that when hardship comes, he will stand unshaken." Chapter 8. The Camel Trader of Babylon. In the heart of Babylon, among the bustling markets and the cries of merchants, there lived a man named Tarkad. Once he had been a man of means, his purse heavy with gold, his table rich with fine food. But as seasons passed, his wealth slipped through his fingers like grains of sand in the desert wind. Now he walked the streets with an empty stomach, his fine robes reduced to rags, and his friends nowhere to be found. On this day, hunger gnawed at Tarkad's belly as he wandered past a grand tavern, the scent of roasted meat and honeyed wine torturing his senses. He paused, leaning weakly against a pillar, when a voice called out to him. "Ho there, Tarkad! You look as though the wind might carry you away." The voice belonged to Dabasir, a camel trader, a man of sharp eyes and a knowing smile. Tarkad forced a weak smile. "Fortune has not been kind, my friend. I have not eaten in days." Dabasir stroked his beard thoughtfully. "And yet, I recall a time when your purse was full, when you were generous in spending. Tell me, what became of your gold?" Tarkad lowered his gaze. "I spent it freely, believing there would always be more. I feasted, I gambled, I lived as though the rivers of Babylon flowed with gold. But when my purse was empty, I found no one willing to fill it again." Dabasir laughed, but there was no cruelty in his tone. "A man who spends all he earns is like a camel left to wander the desert without a guide. Tell me, would you like to know how I turned my fate?" Tarkad nodded eagerly. Dabasir leaned in. "There was a time when I too was lost. I had debts as high as the walls of Babylon, and I was little better than a slave to my misfortunes. But I resolved to change. I vowed that no matter how little I earned, I would keep a portion for myself. With patience my wealth grew, and I repaid my debts. I learned that gold is like a faithful camel. It will serve you well if you treat it with care, but it will stray if you neglect it." Tarkad's eyes widened. "So you mean to say that even a man as poor as I can change his fortune?" "Indeed." Dabasir clapped him on the back. "Start small. Save a little, let it grow. Avoid the foolishness of spending all, and soon, gold will seek your purse as bees seek flowers." Tarkad stood a little taller, his hunger momentarily forgotten. "I will do as you say, Dabasir. I will learn to master my gold, not let it master me." And so the lesson was learned. A man's fortune is not decided by the gods nor by fate, but by his own hand. He who guards his wealth, who spends wisely and saves diligently, will find himself rich beyond measure. The camel trader of Babylon had spoken true wisdom, and Tarkad vowed that he would never again let his purse run empty by folly. Thus, remember this: gold, once earned, must be respected. Guard it well, and it will guard you in return. Spend it without wisdom, and it will vanish like a mirage in the desert sun. Chapter 9. The Clay Tablets from Babylon. Deep within the ruins of Babylon, nestled among the crumbling walls of ancient temples, archaeologists uncovered a remarkable treasure. Not gold nor jewels, but wisdom carved into clay. These clay tablets, inscribed in the time-worn script of the Babylonians, held a story that transcended centuries. They belonged to a man named Dabasir, a humble camel trader who once found himself ensnared in the web of debt and despair, but rose above his misfortunes through the application of financial wisdom. Dabasir's tale began with recklessness. In his youth, he lived extravagantly, spending far beyond his means and borrowing heavily from merchants, moneylenders, and friends. The ease of obtaining credit deceived him into believing that wealth was limitless. Yet, as all debts do, his obligations came due, and he found himself unable to repay what he owed. His creditors turned hostile, and soon, his carefree existence collapsed into ruin. Unable to clear his debts, he was seized and sold into slavery, a fate that seemed to mark the end of his aspirations. But fate had other plans for Dabasir. While in bondage, he resolved that he would not accept the chains of slavery as his destiny. He listened, observed, and learned from those who had mastered wealth. He understood that money was not an enemy, but a force that, if wielded wisely, could serve rather than enslave. With this newfound resolve, he escaped his captors and returned to Babylon, determined to rebuild his life. Upon his return, he sought out the city's wealthiest men and learned the secrets of financial stability. He embraced a simple yet profound principle: a part of all you earn is yours to keep. This became his guiding philosophy. No longer would he squander his earnings. Instead, he set aside a portion of every coin he received, ensuring that he always saved at least 1/10 of his income. With his savings growing, he devised a plan to repay his debts systematically. He divided his remaining income into 2 parts, one for his daily necessities and the other for repaying his creditors. He approached each of them with humility and commitment, promising to repay his dues over time. Some laughed at his meager offerings, but others recognized his sincerity and accepted his repayments. Through unwavering discipline, Dabasir slowly but surely cleared his debts. His reputation, once tainted by irresponsibility, was restored. He no longer lived in fear of creditors, but walked the streets of Babylon with confidence. As his savings accumulated, he sought opportunities to invest and grow his wealth, applying the very principles that had saved him from ruin. The clay tablets he left behind serve as a testament to his journey from financial recklessness to security. They offer a timeless lesson. True prosperity does not come from mere luck or fortune, but from discipline, responsibility, and a commitment to sound financial principles. Dabasir's story is not just an ancient relic. It is a beacon of financial wisdom that guides those who seek to master their wealth rather than be mastered by it. Chapter 10. The Luckiest Man in Babylon. In the bustling heart of Babylon, where traders called out their wares and caravans flowed like rivers through the grand gates, there lived a man named Sharonada. He was known far and wide as the luckiest man in the city. His wealth was immense, his reputation impeccable, and his influence vast. Yet, those who truly knew him whispered among themselves that luck alone had not built his fortune. One day, a young merchant named Hayden Gula, filled with curiosity, approached Sharonada as they traveled together. The young man, eager to uncover the secret of his companion's success, asked, "Tell me, O luckiest man in Babylon, what divine favor has granted you such fortune? Is it truly the will of the gods that you prosper so greatly?" Sharonada chuckled, his eyes gleaming with the wisdom of years. "Young one, the gods may grant opportunity, but it is a man's own actions that shape his fate. Let me tell you a story, one not of divine intervention, but of toil and perseverance. For I was not always wealthy. Once I was but a slave bound in chains and owned as property." Hayden Gula gasped in disbelief. "A slave? But how could a slave rise to become the richest man in Babylon? Sharanada smiled, recalling the struggles of his past. When I was a youth, misfortune fell upon my family, and I was sold into slavery. My master was a harsh man, yet he taught me a lesson that shaped my destiny. A man's worth is measured by his ability to labor and learn. Instead of wallowing in despair, I decided to prove my value. I worked harder than any other slave, seeking not only to complete my tasks but to understand their purpose. I observed the ways of merchants, learned the principles of trade, and honed my skills in commerce. One day, an opportunity arose. My master, seeing my diligence and intelligence, allowed me to handle minor transactions on his behalf. With each task, I proved my reliability and trustworthiness. Eventually, I earned enough favor to purchase my freedom. But freedom alone was not enough. I had learned the ways of wealth, and I intended to apply them. I saved diligently, invested wisely, and made each coin work for me. I did not seek shortcuts or gamble with fortune. Instead, I followed the principles that ensured steady growth. I lent money only to those who had the means to repay. I avoided reckless spending and ensured that I always lived within my means. As the years passed, my wealth grew, not because of luck, but because of patience, discipline, and foresight. Hayden Gula listened intently, realizing the truth behind Sharanada's success. Then, O wise one, you are not truly the luckiest man in Babylon. You are the most prepared. Sharanada laughed heartily. You have understood well, young merchant. Luck smiles upon those who are ready for it. A man who works hard, who seeks wisdom, and who safeguards his wealth with prudence, he is the true master of his fortune. As they rode on through the great city of Babylon, Hayden Gula carried with him a lesson far greater than mere wealth. The understanding that prosperity is forged by one's own hands, not granted by fate alone. Chapter 11. The Gold Lender of Babylon. In the heart of Babylon, nestled between towering columns and the bustling markets, there was a man named Mathan, a lender of gold. His house was no grand palace, yet within its walls lay riches beyond the imagination of most men. He was not a king, nor a warrior, yet his wealth grew year after year. Many sought his aid, yet few understood the secret of his prosperity. One morning, a young scribe named Rodden entered Mathan's chambers, clutching a small sack of gold. His eyes gleamed with excitement, for he had recently received a great sum as a reward for his work. Yet he knew not what to do with such wealth, and so he sought Mathan's wisdom. Mathan, wise lender of gold, I come seeking your counsel. How may I ensure that this gold does not slip from my grasp? Mathan chuckled, gesturing to the many clay tablets stacked upon his shelves. Rodden, gold is a living thing. If treated wisely, it will multiply and serve you. If squandered, it will abandon you as swiftly as a bird freed from its cage. Tell me, what do you intend to do with your newfound wealth? Rodden hesitated. Many friends have approached me, asking for loans and gifts. They promise to repay, yet I fear for my gold. Mathan nodded. Gold must be lent only to those who have the means to return it. A man skilled in his craft will honor his debts, but a fool will only dig himself deeper into ruin. Ask yourself, does the man seeking your gold have a way to repay it? If not, you do him no kindness by lending it. Rodden pondered these words, realizing that wealth was not merely to be given away, but to be used wisely. Then tell me, Mathan, how does a lender such as yourself ensure that his gold always returns? Mathan smiled. By lending not on mere hope, but on certainty. A wise man does not trust in promises alone. He trusts in ability and discipline. Gold lent to those who know how to use it will return manyfold. Rodden left Mathan's house that day, his mind sharpened with understanding, and thus he vowed to guard his gold as one guards a cherished possession, ensuring that it worked for him rather than slipping through careless hands. Chapter 12. The Luckiest Man in Babylon. Not far from the great temples of Babylon lived a humble man named Sharanada, known by all as the luckiest man in the city. His fortune had flourished beyond measure, yet those who knew him well whispered that luck alone had not been the architect of his success. One day, a young merchant named Hayden Gula sought Sharanada's counsel. Tell me, O luckiest man in Babylon, how does fortune favor you so greatly? Is it truly the hand of the gods? Sharanada laughed heartily. Young one, the gods may bless a man with opportunities, but it is his own wisdom and effort that turn them into fortune. I was not always wealthy. Once I was but a slave bound in chains. My master, though cruel, taught me a great lesson, the value of labor and knowledge. Hayden Gula listened in astonishment as Sharanada recounted his journey. Through diligence, he had earned his freedom. Through learning, he had mastered the art of trade. And through discipline, he had built a fortune that none could take from him. Luck smiles upon those who are prepared, Sharanada concluded. A man who works hard, who learns the ways of gold, and who guards his wealth with wisdom, he is the true master of fortune. Hayden Gula left, not with the secret of luck, but with something greater, the understanding that prosperity is forged through one's own hands, not granted by fate alone. Conclusion: the wisdom of Babylon lives on. As the sun sets over the golden walls of Babylon, its wisdom remains eternal. The stories of those who walked its streets, who toiled and triumphed, are not mere tales of the past. They are lessons as valuable today as they were in the time of kings and traders. The wealthy of Babylon did not stumble upon riches by chance. They followed simple yet profound truths. Save a portion of all you earn, invest wisely, guard your wealth, and let it grow. They understood that gold, like a tree, must be planted and nurtured before it bears fruit. A man who builds his wealth slowly and steadily, who avoids the folly of wasteful spending, and who seeks wisdom at every turn, will find himself rich beyond measure. Whether in the bustling streets of ancient Babylon or the modern world of today, these lessons endure. So, please take these teachings to heart. The walls of Babylon stood strong because they were built with foresight and care. Let your own financial walls be just as mighty. Fortune does not favor the reckless, but it embraces those who prepare, who learn, and who act with purpose. May you, like the wise citizens of Babylon, build a future of prosperity, security, and lasting wealth. Thank you,